Hey guys, it's Bree. I wanted to talk to you about The Left Hand of Darkness, and super shout out to Catherine over at the Android's Conundrum because she asked me to do this and she was right. Catherine, you were right. I read The Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula K. Le Guin. I would show you, I'll try and put it up here somewhere. I took it out from the library because it's a pretty old book. It was initially published in 1969. And has had a massive number of reprints still. You can still go to the bookstore and buy it, which is the first thing that should indicate to you, aside from, of course, that Ursula K. Le Guin wrote it, that it's a worthwhile read. The Left Hand of Darkness focuses on two primary characters. The first and the main character is called Genly. His name is also referred to as Genry. And he is from what's called the ecumen of the worlds, or he's essentially from like a federation of planets. And he has come to this planet where the world is always in winter. And he's trying to make sure that they join this federation, that they join up with the ecumen, as a way to advance their own knowledge, yes, but to also kind of create one unified mankind beyond the worlds. The type of human being that is on this planet is actually pretty different from our own. And I don't mean this in any fundamental sense. Like, they look a lot like us, their internal organs kind of are the same, but they undergo what's called Kemmer. And Kemmer is a hormonal change, and it's very, very interesting. So in their kind of base state, the people on this planet are neither male nor female. They're hermaphroditic, and they undergo a 28-day cycle of what's called Kemmer. During Kemmer, their hormones kind of go crazy, and they are essentially randomly assigned a gender and kind of have that Ponfar kind of experience. Everybody has this experience, and so on this planet, they're neither male nor female people. They are inherently both, and at the same time kind of neither, which is a really interesting thing, and it's a big struggle for Genry, who is there as the envoy, because he comes from a world very much like our own, where people are either male or female, for the most part. Genly has worked with this man, Estraven, who is the prime minister of the country that he initially lands in. And Estraven is kind of making his case to the king that they should join with the ecumen until Estraven is exiled. And Genly finds that he is being put into prison and has to escape. And it's kind of just about the two of them coming to an understanding about themselves and about each other. It's such a good book, and if you haven't read it, I highly suggest that you pick it up. The first thing that really is just fantastic in this is Ursula K. Le Guin's prose. She's so eloquent, but doesn't feel unapproachable at all. Her story, in that sense, is just so natural. It really feels like Genly is telling you what's happening. It has a couple of perspective shifts, but even then it feels so natural. It feels like somebody is actually talking to you, and that doesn't mean that she's dumbing down kind of the more philosophical aspects. In fact, for me, those philosophical aspects were very much the highlight of the book. So she's talking, and really this book is kind of Le Guin's way of examining the relationship between people, between mankind and gender and the animal kingdom. The best part is that even though that dialogue is there, it doesn't feel overwhelming or like that's all of the story. Her story is very much also just one about people being people. The plot is not always terribly suspenseful, and it's not always very action-packed. But I didn't find that that was unappealing. In fact, I found that their challenges in those longer periods of kind of stability were the more interesting parts. If you're looking for a book that's just, one thing after another, I wouldn't say that this book doesn't have anything to appeal to you. a lot of the plot is very eventful. Just be prepared that you're going to have a couple of times where your plot stays pretty steady. I really loved this book. I found that it had so much to offer as far as character development, as far as thought-provoking kind of presentation of story. It really kind of feels like one of those stories you would get if you were sitting around and you had like a bard talking to you. I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars, and if you have been around my channel or if you click on some of the other videos, you're going to know how rare that is for me. I almost never give a 5-star review. And this isn't because I don't like books, it's just that none of those books is like a pinnacle for me. And I really just... I said to a friend of mine at the end of reading this book that I wanted to throw it across the room. I loved it so much. It's so satisfying. And even though it's a part of a 4-book series, you can read The Left Hand of Darkness on its own without really having to read the other 3 books in the series. It's very much capable of standing on its own work. And I find that that's very much to the Guin's credit. There's a really helpful index in the back if you find that you are a little bit confused about what things are. Part of it uses a vastly different calendar system, and so it's very useful in that way. And I really encourage you to pick this book up if you haven't already. If you have thoughts about The Left Hand of Darkness, please let me know. I'm so excited to talk to you guys about it. And I hope you're having a fantastic reading week. I'll talk to you later.